Hi, welcome to Fiberchats. My name is Irina. I'm the host here, and my guests today are Marcus and Fabian, coming from Pamir Fine Fibers. Welcome to my channel.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Irina. Thank you
Thanks a
very
lot for
much.
having us. Yeah.
Thank you.
And we chatted a bit before we started this interview, and I told you that I actually was born in Uzbekistan, and it's bordering with Kyrgyzstan, where you now do a lot of work there. So Fabian, tell me first, how did you find yourself in Kyrgyzstan? Let's go back to before the Pamir Fine Fibers were established.
Yes, thank you. So, I was in 2008 the first time in Central Asia, and then throughout my work, I got a chance to work in Central Asian countries, but mainly in Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan in development cooperation. So I was a project person, and the goal was of the projects that we were doing was always trying to add value in Kyrgyzstan or in Tajikistan through so-called value chain creation, value chains such as cotton, organic fair trade cotton, but also dried fruits, so all types of food crops. And then next to it, I like going to mountains. Many Swiss people like going to the mountains, so I met a lot of farmers. Also, it's a very rough, raw landscape, high altitude, and it's made for livestock farming, but livestock which is able to sustain itself in these high regions. And there I came across the first time, I heard about this pashmina, cashmere, just a beautiful fiber which you could source there. And I got intrigued and wanted to find out more about it. Actually, it's just because my mom was a knitter, and I thought oh, she loves cashmere. If I bring her cashmere home, perfect. But it was not possible to bring her cashmere in a yarn form back home. And then I was thinking, being with that professional background I had back then, I was just thinking, all right, let's investigate it more. What is being done with this fiber and
What was being done with that fiber in Kyrgyzstan back then?
So there is a story between, so Kyrgyz Kashmir has also in during Soviet times, it was being used. There are lots of so-called, you could also say maybe legends around it. So if Yuri Gagarin, the first man in space, there are some stories about it that he was wearing Kyrgyz Kashmir, on his skin, or that the soy or the capsules of the rockets of the Soviet rockets was being isolated by Kashmir from Kyrgyzstan. So it was being sourced from there and then also being processed in the Soviet Union. But which Soviet Union, very centralized, it was all being brought to Orenburg. You probably know the region. Orenburg is very much into fiber and processing. But then after the collapse of the Soviet Union, it all fell apart and nothing was being done about it. So what I found out, it was still collected, some was combed, some was sheared, and then it was sold to the Chinese market, and it was also smuggled out of Kyrgyzstan. So there was no exportation taxes on it. It was just, it was a complete lost potential of these beautiful fibers which grow there naturally in the country, and the rest of the added value was then being done in China.
And probably the farmers themselves did not get much money for this.
Exactly. And also there was not too much, since too much appreciation for the fiber. They didn't even understand. My understanding was, but they didn't even understand, how valuable this fiber is. They just mixed it together, threw it all on one pile, without, also this was also a whole procedure then, teaching farmers about comb the animals by animals, look at the fiber, how fine it is. Since they were just they didn't get a fair price for this fiber, so it was also not very attractive for them to pay attention to it.
Right. And so tell me a little bit, how did you learn all of these things? Because before you teach others, you have to figure it out for yourself, right?
Then we started very small. So we started then. I had actually the chance, then throughout my work also. And Kyrgyzstan is small. It is a small country. It is around 40 to 5 million inhabitants. It's 4 times the size of Switzerland. But people in the sector, they know each other. So then I had the chance to meet the person who has been collecting cashmere in the 90s.
Okay.
And he was then telling me a bit, how you organize a collection work, how this would need to be done, in order to establish also the connections to the Kyrgyz, to the local people. I myself, I speak Russian, but I don't speak Kyrgyz, and then the people in the countryside. I mean, really, the village people, you need to speak Kyrgyz, so you need to have how do you call them? Like
guide.
A guide, a local guy who helps you, establishing this link. And then we started very small with, I don't know, the first set was maybe 3 to 4 kilograms. We went on mini mills to make some yarns out of it. We then also, but we de-fibered, we de-haired it already in order to get, the pure cashmere in hands. Because initially I already told you, the goal was actually, it was not clear yet, do we go into a Pamir Fine Fibers yarn brand? So it was also, the idea was, maybe we go, the idea was actually provide cashmere from Kyrgyzstan in a transparent way with a fair trade approach to establish brands where they can use the story. And we would to provide them with a story.
Educate us a little bit about cashmere. Like, what makes Pamir cashmere different from, let's say, Mongolian or Chinese cashmere?
I mean, what I can say, what Kyrgyz cashmere. So cashmere, just maybe as a disclaimer, there is no cashmere goat like that as such. These are just goats. I mean, all animals in Kyrgyzstan, in order to survive the winter, they have to grow an undercoat, or like a fiber undercoat that protects them from the cold. And then it's a continental climate, so you have very harsh winters, very cold winters, and very hot summers. And then all these animals, they shed. So I mean, as all animals do, they shed their undercoat during spring. And this undercoat, then you can comb out, and then you get the raw cashmere. And then cashmere, actually, it's a human-made standard, which is defined by curliness, by thinness, how thin, and it should be long. And just cashmere, I mean, people there live off livestock. So without livestock, they wouldn't be able to survive in this harsh environment. And one of their main animals is goats. But they don't keep goats for the fibers. They keep goats for milk, for meat, and also for the leather. So afterwards, when they die. So it's not, what makes it mainly different, as I understand it, or what I tell, is it is not being bred for the fiber. These animals exist, they are there, and as a side product, these goats produce a beautiful fiber, which is not being bred for the fibers, but it makes it fits the cashmere standard, and it makes a beautiful product.
Well, you talked a little bit about like environmentally sustainable grazing. Explain my viewers, why is that important?
So what you have, why can goats live in such harsh environments? Is because they can live with very few input. So they can even take the last root from a plant. Goats will find it and eat it. So they get through very hard, or they can live with very little resources. Which is then the problem is for the pasture management. If you have a lot of goats, they will graze your pastures empty. You will have desertification. In the end, just the countryside worsens.
It's like the case in Mongolia, in some cases, or China as well.
Yeah, so if you have too many goats in one place, you push the limits. You just push the limits of the lands. Whereas in Kyrgyzstan, I mean, there is overgrazing in some areas. Obviously, since it's a livestock agriculture, but it is not, since it's not bred for the fiber, you don't have herds of like a couple of thousands goats in one place. It's mixed herds, you have, it's all small scale, mostly small scale farmers with maybe a couple of dozens of animals, and then mixed herd with yaks, cows, goats, sheep, and then the goats just make part of it. And then also within the goat population of one farmer, you don't have all perfect fibers. You might have 50 animals, 10 animals have a beautiful fibers, 10 animals mediocre fibers, and 10 animals you may have not the best fibers. And it's also, a matter of teaching the farmers to that. Maybe they have in one village, they have one male goat with which they use, and you have to teach them maybe male goats usually if they breed maybe for meat. Male goats, usually it's not, the bigger the goat, the more meat it has on it. Usually it doesn't have the better fiber. Sometimes the better fiber has the smaller goat. So it's always, you need to find a balance. But it is, in the end, the fiber, it's still absolutely beautiful. It's still a cashmere fiber. It's a cashmere fiber. It's still this beautiful hair, which is super light, super soft, and gives very very little weight. Gives a lot of warmth.
Well, you two met in school, in college, right?
At university, actually, in Geneva.
So, Fabian, like you watching Marcus going to Kyrgyzstan and doing all this fiber research, what did you think about it? Like, what made you decide to join him on this journey?
Well, we studied kind of development work in Geneva, like Geneva being the UN hub in Europe, and there's a lot of diplomatic work, but also a lot of development programs or institutions. So I also was kind of in the beginning keen to go this way. I then went to communication, this direction, political sciences, and Marcus then took the path really to go out, go into a country, into a developing kind of program. And this is really interesting, of course, to hear about, and also to see him learn the language and telling how he actually can make an impact. So because this is something, when you start studying this, you think you're not aware yet what is actually having an impact, and maybe what's having less impact, because you really have to also choose the right approach. And I think that's what he managed to kind of get into. Organizations that had this approach, and so when he came up with the cashmere, I thought it was really beautiful and also interesting to see such a product coming out of this, and with this kind of also kind of potential to support these people, because they still live in a traditional way. So this is really something that motivates me a lot to know that we actually can give some kind of support to them to go on the way they live there in this beautiful landscape.
Well, can you describe, like, for people who never heard of Kyrgyzstan, which I'm sure there are plenty, can you describe that landscape? Can you describe how they live?
I think that's one for you, Mark, because I haven't been there yet, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, you do see it here a little bit in the background. I mean,
80% of the country is mountains, and then around, but probably 1/3 is above 4,000 meters. So that makes how much in feet? That makes 12,000 feet. So it's very, it feels remote. It depends a bit, always the point of comparison, since I'm here being based, I know the Alps very well. The Alps it's all like cultural, we call it Kulturland, cultural land. So it's all being developed, established. You have touristical sites, you have ski resorts, you have streets going in.
You have roads, right?
Yeah, we have roads. They do also have roads in Kyrgyzstan, but it feels, if with a point of comparison from the Alps, it feels untouched.
It's really remote in many parts. No, I think you can really go for treks there without hardly seeing anyone. Or you will see more yaks and goats and probably animals than people.
Yeah, it's like, and so it's also difficult. Then that's also a big difference. It's difficult to sustain people. people. So I mean, there's just not a lot of things growing. You know, it's really just empty pasture land. There are no forests. Higher altitudes, trees just don't grow at that altitude anymore. But you do have people living. You have people living at 4,000 meters altitude. You know, if you go in there just like that, you get a headache. But people live there on a constant basis if you're not
acclimated. Yeah.
Yeah, so it is. Yeah, it's. I mean, for a Western European person, it's harsh. It's really harsh. So it's basic also. I mean, you can. Yeah, you can. I mean, you know, there's also Kyrgyzstan. There's also a touristical land, so it's visa free. You can for most Western countries, it's easy to go there, which is nice. You can do horse trekking, but the reality on the ground is actually rough for the people living there. It's not a nice. It's not an easy way of life. Really difficult. Which is also actually one important point is also with the cashmere fibers. What is possible? You know, you have these people living up there. Cashmere is being collected, as I said before, in spring. In spring, in these regions, there is no cash crop. There's no cash income at all. They don't have anything. They come out from a harsh winter. They don't have usually. You know, they're depleted of all the stock that they had, of all the you know what they stock during winter time, and then they have the possibilities to come out the fibers and sell it to our teams, which is it's a great cash income, which then allows to you know whatever needs they need to.
Right, it's an extra like safety net for them to.
So yeah, I mean, to maybe show in short, it is absolutely beautiful from our point of view, but the reality on the ground is also it's difficult.
Do you think it gives you new appreciation for like how you grew up and things that you taking every day for granted?
Definitely it does. Yeah, definitely it does. If you go as I mean, it's always a high. You know, also what we're doing with this. It's what a privileged world I'm living in. You know, with also the chances I had to be there, based there between Central Asia and Switzerland. What a privilege, definitely. If just to understand, maybe, you know, Kyrgyzstan is also, I mean, we are also in Switzerland, you know, we have an established rule of law, you know, the government is working, the agriculture is being subsidized, you know, people pay taxes, everything is more or less clear according to law. Kyrgyzstan, in comparison, it's
wild west.
It's a bit wild west. Yeah, you can come there, you can do many things, but then, you know, in order to also for us, you know, establish this project, you know, to get fiber collected and to have raw cashmere unwashed, because initially we didn't wash and didn't dehair in Kyrgyzstan, get that to Europe, getting this paperwork organized in Kyrgyzstan on the ground. It's difficult. It's not as if you can come as an person based in America. You can come to Europe, read the laws, read the regulations, and you will get it done. But in Kyrgyzstan, without the local support, without your connections you need to have in order to just supporters that understand the system.
You know what's funny? Like when I came to the US, I studied in the MBA and one of the classes that I took was the art of negotiation. And remember this girl from Middle East somewhere, and she raised her hand and she said, this is all great, professor, but what about bribes? Do you deal with things like that in Kyrgyzstan?
Yeah, definitely yes. It's part of bribing. I mean, the thing is, what I've not only worked in difficult sectors in Kyrgyzstan, I was also based in Ukraine. My wife is from Ukraine. I mean, I sometimes understand it a bit. We pay taxes. I pay taxes every time I go to a shop. Automatically the value-added tax is being deducted, 12 or 9%, whatever, and then just the tax system in a place like Kyrgyzstan, it just doesn't work. Nobody pays officially taxes, so it's a part of people that work for the state, or in order that the whole thing works. It's an informal way of paying taxes. So if you need to get a paper, for instance, exporting fibers, you need to have a veterinary certificate of this institution. You go in there. I mean, easiest is I don't even touch these questions. I don't go in. Since if I go in as a Westerner, then immediately it gets more expensive. So I need to send your local person, But then, of course, they will find out, okay, this is for exportation, and they also understand, they also see the paper, and then it's a matter of...
For you, it's a business after all, right? Like, you're not doing it just for the good, out of the goodness of your heart.
What I like very much about it, it is a business, but I would call it, it's economic sustainability, that's the goal, that everybody in the process chain, in the whole supply chain, has also an economic interest in sustaining it. Because development cooperation often it lacks, the sustainability. It's all, you talk about sustainability in terms of environmental resources, human resources. That's all good, but the bottom line, at some point, still people need to live off something. There needs to be some kind of income.
It's also about empowering these people, really, because if you only had the business side, it's a lot of work, and it wouldn't be like a profitable business if it were just for that reason. It's really also about not just only taking resources out of there, but also giving something back.
You mentioned that you try to pay more than everybody else pays around for the raw materials. Is that part of your company's philosophy, to give more, as much as you can, back?
We do work, we have teams that go from village to village. So in order that and then you need to establish a network of villages and kind of partner farmers. And then you only take in as many villages that you're able to go on, that you buy everything. So we buy everything. We don't go into a village, just take the top, the finest cashmere and sort it out. What we do 3 qualities usually. The highest one, and they pay 3 different prices. This is also a matter of just teaching the people or the farmers, collect each animal separately, and also collect it nice. You don't put, collect it clean. We don't want to pay because you pay by weight. Collect it clean. That already gives, gives you kind of certainty that you don't get, dirt. You don't buy dirt. And at the same time, you start teaching them, because if you take the fiber regularly in your hand, you feel it. You see it in your hand. The different qualities, the fineness of the fiber. And then, once we're sure that we have, that we can take in more, more villages, then we establish more villages. And usually what we do, we sort it in Bishkek. It's now our partner company, Kyrgyz Kashmir LLC. They sort it, and then the quality which does not correspond with our quality expectation, we can resell it into the Chinese market. So the Chinese middlemen, they're not competitors. It's a community, and you can still help each other out. And you can sell, then still resell it. And once you go in with that system of 3 qualities, where the best quality gets, it's such a higher price. It's out of question, what they have been getting in the past for these fibers. Of course, farmers would not even sell, this village would not even sell to any other person anymore, since they just wait. It's also the good thing is it's not a fruit or something that that gets bad. You can just stock it, collect it whenever it falls off your animal, put it in your cellar, and wait for our teams to come.
How do you divide responsibilities between the 2 of you?
So we do well. So we have a yarn brand here in Switzerland. We are Pamir Fine Fibers. We're a yarn brand. So we have marketing activities, and then we do business to business. We have many stores that sell our yarns on the shelves, but we also do direct marketing. And then there is an administration behind. So there's the 2 of us. There's also Raiko in our team. So Raiko is more like the administrative guy. Basically you could say Raiko is more the administrative guy. I'm being more responsible for the sourcing, production of everything Kyrgyzstan, and then until the fiber, we have the fiber in store. And then Fabian is marketing, communications, pictures.
Also collaborations quite a lot. Yeah, I take care of, and the two of us, we're also like taking care of sales when we go to festivals like the Swiss Yarn Festival. We're also merit, or gladly connected us with you. So that's also being part of a community, and of course also being there, and it's also something we both do. And in the end,
you mentioned to me that you have a goal for 2025 to learn how to knit.
Well, actually, yeah, it's true, because my mother also is a knitter. Actually, she's a handicraft teacher, or was a handicraft teacher. She's now retired, but she still helps us. And I once knitted some time ago, and I think I'm also since I'm also taking care of the instructions and everything, I understand the language, and now it's just putting into the needles. Basically, and we also got this nice book, Knitting for Men, where you see a cowboy and a horse, but not with like a cigarette, maybe back in the times, but with his needles, his knitting needles.
Well, do you have a dream project that you would try to knit yourself?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think a jumper would be really beautiful to do, but I think that's a bit away. I think I'll get started with some beanie, or maybe even easier, just a swatch, maybe, because we always need swatches to show also the people how soft our yarn actually is once it's washed and a bit worn a bit.
Was it difficult for you to break into the cashmere yarn market? Because there are a lot of people, there are a lot of Chinese manufacturers, there is Mongolian manufacturers, there are people from a lot of places that deal with high-end yarn. Was it difficult for you to make room for yourself?
We started small in Switzerland, and that's also then you have this these fairs like the Swiss Yarn Festival, for instance. Community is quite small, and then what I understand, when we grew organically, or we are still growing organically, so we don't have any external finances. It's all being financed by ourselves. And then what we needed, since there is no, as you understand, there is no hardcore knitter now in this team. I myself, I'm not a knitter neither. So we depend very much on knitters like you, or just any knitters who get our cashmere in their hands, get the texture of it, do their projects with it, and then they understand what this cashmere is about. Since it's not only, it is really, I can sell it, I can say it now with confidence, it's not only the story of Kyrgyzstan, but then it's also the way of how we spin it and twist it in England with Glad Hills. Our spinner makes it a unique product on the market. It comes on the ball, yes, it comes hard, we call it dense line. It's not a soft, so it's not a woolen spun, it's a worsted spun, so which makes it rather dense on the ball. But then it's, since we do use the whole cashmere with all the long hair in it, we comb out the smallest hair, so there's a little less peeling, and it just makes it. And then it's we have two qualities. We have a 6-ply and an 8-ply. It makes it super durable. We did test. It makes it more durable than other cashmeres on the market. And then it's not. We don't have quick wins in terms of growth, but we grow, since we have we have just convinced people that do then the word to mouth propaganda, which works for us, which then has, and then also every store you talk and they take your product on board, they have their network of knitters which they know, okay, this person would like to try this cashmere, and then they know other people. That's the way we grow.
Tell me a little bit about the colors that you have for your cashmere.
Yeah, so we have like 15 colors. This includes one natural color, which is kind of the color that you get when you mix these, because these are mixed herds where we source from. Like you have white-haired to gray-haired, black-haired goats, brown-haired. So this all then gives a blend of this kind of natural color, which we have, which you can see here, maybe, yeah, a little bit. And from there, we don't bleach, so we have like developed our color range from there. So we have like we have the green aqua, which is a kind of a light green going to a bosco, a darker green. Then we have like these grayish tones, and they're dyed with Ettrick yarn dyers in Scotland. So also there we actually took care to have like quite a natural kind of range of colors, not going lighter. This might be a goal for the future to try to have also you know, kind of yarn or fibers that are more white, where we could then also go into other colors.
Well, are you thinking of expanding? Because like in Kyrgyzstan, when it comes to the cashmere sourcing, you're sort of limited by the amount of people you can send to these villages and all these relationships. So you can't really double the production overnight. Are you looking to get other fibers as well?
I mean, we can still grow in Kyrgyzstan. We do not control all the cashmere from Kyrgyzstan yet. So if we would be reaching that point, yeah, perfect. So this would be actually, the goal would be that we could, you know, collect all the cashmere in Kyrgyzstan, wash and dehair, so do 2 value-adding steps in country, and then officially, you know, pay taxes, also officially export that fiber out of Kyrgyzstan. That would be already amazing if we reach that goal, and we're not there yet. So there is plenty of cashmere still available in Kyrgyzstan, which is also perfect if we have, you know, a chance to talk on a channel like that. So we're happy if more brands or more, you know, also not yarns, yarn manufacturer, also other brands would come in and work with the Kyrgyz cashmere. And then what we are thinking about is, you know, there is cotton. So, you know, the Fergana Valley, which is a cotton region. Also, of course, in terms of sustainability, cotton, sustainability, cotton also has its questions, but we would have chances to get organically certified and fair trade certified cotton out of Kyrgyzstan and go into a blend there. That would also, since now with the cashmere itself, we have a very much, you know, a product for the winter season. So usually, you know, our sales start from September, and then now it's, you know, until March, and then we have like the summer home with a cotton line. We could, or the idea is to close like, or to make a full year. And then another idea which we're also probably going into is, as I said, currently we call this dense line, since the spinning procedure is very much tight, so it's hard on the ball. Then we will think about a soft line with another spinning, so with more a woolen spun spinning procedure, which then, you know, would be more it would then more fit, you know, what knitters are used of cashmere, the texture on the ball or on the scale.
Well, I would be very curious to try that. So when you come up with that line,
sure,
make here some samples there.
No, definitely. No, and we're always, I always said, you know, the goal is, since we are not the knitters, always
not
people,
yet.
Yeah, not yet the knitter. People need to use it, yeah, knit something with it, feel it, also wash it. You know, it just needs to be, you know, and then it's also, it is cashmere. So if you know, if you like the texture of or if you use it in your knitting, it does feel different than many other fibers.
How does it feel to see people wearing items made with your cashmere?
Well, it's great to see. I think there's so many variations, and it's growing, you know, like, because people are keen to try different designs with our yarn, and if you go to our website on Knitwear Designs, you can see what already has come out so far, and there's lots more to come, and I think that's kind of also the goal, you know, to just have it put into products that can be worn for a life, actually, for lifelong. That's because of the dance line and the durability. It really is something sustainable, and that is also important for us. Not that it's a quick kind of win, but something that also makes sense because you need it. You take the time. You sometimes you have to go back a bit, and then you really have it done for yourself, and it will stay with you, and it's kind of becoming a part of you in winter. Or
you mentioned at the beginning that like you were selling in the like some festivals and markets, and now you're selling in stores. How many countries carry your yarn, and what's your vision for it for the future?
So we started in Switzerland, and now we're since 2 years, you could say, we're establishing, since the logistics, since we're not part of Switzerland, is not part of the European Union, it makes logistically, just shipping out of Switzerland into European countries or worldwide makes it a bit more difficult. But we do have a partnership with Schulano currently, and we have stock in Europe, and we can ship out of Europe now. And then, of course, the goal is, since Switzerland is also language-wise, it was German, French, and Italian, so we have been much more on a German-based, approach. And now with stock in Germany, of course, the idea is to grow internationally. And
do you see yourself selling in the US?
We do sell, and we do have customers from. As I understand, the knitting scene in the US is very lively, very developed, and also very with a very unique approach. People look for the special, and so we do have regular orders from the US, where sometimes it's surprising, how people find out about us. But we had some, of course, we do marketing activities, if you're on social media, and then, word by mouth, one leads to the other.
Right.
No, but we are able to ship worldwide out of, but if we get an international order out of Switzerland, it's being shipped out of Germany.
Sometimes the challenge lies in, of course, like having the website. The website, of course, you have it in English and German. You could also, because Swiss-French part in Switzerland is also quite a big part, could have it in French, but then this is kind of where it gets tricky. But at the moment, we're happy with German and English.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to put all the information about your company in the description of this video, and hopefully more people going to find you, and you guys can order this cashmere, try it for yourself, and let me know what you think about it, because I'm very curious. And I'm also looking forward meeting you in real life at Swiss Yarn Festival and touching this cashmere, because you made me very curious.
All right, yeah. So you're gonna attend in the beginning of April.
That's the plan. If fingers crossed, if nothing happens, I'm planning to be there. So I'd like to visit your booth.
With a pleasure. Yeah, we look forward to meeting you and having you touch everything
and perhaps I can teach you how to knit.
Of course, yeah. If you have some time, because it's quite. You will be surprised how busy the festival is and how many. It's such a lively weekend. It's a great weekend.
Right. Well,
but I'm sure we find some time.
Yeah, and the product is about touching. It's not about. That's the thing. It doesn't. Even if we sell directly online, you need to have, you need to see it, also the color, like in light, feel the cashmere on you, feel the two qualities in your hand, see what is what you can do out of it. That makes, but often you cannot put it in words, what you then.
Right. I think you have a great story, and I think you're doing a great thing for people of Kyrgyzstan, helping the farmers out and creating beautiful products along the way.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Great to hear you.
Thank you.
Well, I want to thank both of you for being my guests today. It was lovely getting to know you, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in real life soon.
Thanks a lot for hosting us, Irina, and we look forward to continue our exchange in Switzerland.
Thank you.
Thank you, Irina.
шақшамал бекмей молодцына